game you playing.
Oh, I was looking at it.
Want to see those jail plans? I didn't know what he had. Yeah.
I didn't either. Took me under there that.
That'd be a lot better answer.
When you jump in. When you jump in.
No, there's one we built. We got started things that fit in that thing.
That one.
No, you just gotta take those plans.
No, but you said that the architect came in there.
No, no, he said it wouldn't take nothing to give you some. All your several files. Every time they met, you don't hardly ever see them. Not much more. What was that?
All right. Did you send me a link? I gotta figure out how to. No. All right, we're recording, you ready? Go. Away. All right, we are now going into our budget workshop. 3 minutes late, and that's okay. We're productive. So I put together a few numbers from the slideshow or from the deal. We're going to talk about the general budget fiscal year 2025. This it's a little confusing, but it's kind of a summary of everything but road and bridge. This is all about the general fund right there. Those line items that are highlighted are the ones that are relevant in there. You've got the first line item is general. This includes all of the judicial and all of the operations stuff in the county that is not included below, which is you got the library, the indigent health, the jail, the sheriff, and the fire marshal, and I guess it's put together this way because of the some of them have revenues, and so it's showing the different revenues. But you've got the fund balance on 9/30. This is what is projected based on what our budget for fiscal 2024 was. Okay, it is taking what we budgeted in fiscal 24 and all the expenses against that and shows what the balance is going to be at the end of this year. But that doesn't account for if we actually are under or over, and in most cases will be for the under. My cursor is going away. All right. So there's the fund balance, the revenue available, and then the expenses right here. This is general. That's all of the judicial, all of the operations, all the district clerk, county clerk, and whatnot in the general. And then you've got the library, the expenses right there. But what we're looking at is right down here. We're starting out with a balance of 12,509,700 in our fund balance. Okay, that's what we're starting out with basically in fiscal or at the end of this fiscal year. Go through all the expenses that we're projecting for 2025. And again, this does not include road and bridge. It's just for the general fund. And that comes up to the ending balance being $9,053,498, which comes up to a reduction of our fund balance of $3,456,202. That's how much we would go into our fund balance under the current scenario with our budget. Okay.
With the budget that we have now.
With the budget we have at the moment. And I just want to go through and kind of highlight where some of this stuff is. So first we're looking at I'm bringing the 456,000 over. And then next actual, and what I say here, fiscal 24 actual, we will probably bring in the fund balance will increase by probably 750,000. That's the amount that I'm projecting that will come back into the fund balance from the fiscal 24 budget that did not get spent this year. So that's going to come in as fund balance. The next thing is in the fiscal 25 contingency fund, we have right now $1,400,000. Again, this was what we put in there, not knowing, where we were gonna end up, but the idea behind it was that $1 million of it would be used for courthouse renovation, mostly the exterior windows. This is under the assumption that we don't get a grant, historical commission grant, that we would have to go do this on our own and to fix the windows on all around the courthouse. So that's what we put $1 million of it in there for. The other 400,000 is just for general contingency funds. So that's part of the 3,400,000. So if you took that out, because it's not, it's not fixed spending that we have to do, then you're down to 2 million. Okay. What I want to show you is some of the increased expenses for fiscal year 25. Okay, our health insurance went up 128,000. Our appraisal district, this is the fee that we pay the appraisal district in order to for them to collect the taxes for us, went up 95,000. It's a long story to that. It's one of those things that was unanticipated or unexpected when the legislature decided to fund the school ISD taxes, and therefore it reduced the amount of funds that the appraisal district has to collect for the ISDs, and that reduced their amount that they pay to the appraisal district, and it increased everybody else's. It's a long story, but we have to deal with it. IT software maintenance, we have over the last 6 months, and we have agreed to a lot of improvements and additional software licenses and maintenance fees that will actually help improve our productivity. I'm not opposed to that. In indigent legal aid, I'm still working on this, but I believe we've gone up about $100,000 over the prior year from what we have been spending in the past. And then the 5% salary increase that we proposed for the entire county is going to cost us $800,000. Okay, so that's where roughly half of the fund balance reduction is coming from. Okay, now there's some other reduced. One of the things we discovered in this budgeting process is our revenues that we get are not meeting what we budgeted last year. They're budgeted for fiscal 24. They're actually much reduced. And first we got the county clerk fees, currently projected to be 126,000 under budget for this year. District clerk is 12,000. County court at law fines is 135,000 under. District courts 26,196. JP courts is $48,000 under what was budgeted, and our septic permits and inspections is under about $51,000 below what we budgeted for the year based on the projections for the last 5 months, and making a total of $400,000 under revenue that we budgeted lower on revenues for this next year because we didn't meet the budget for this year. So that is where we're at. The other thing is that I don't have a slide for it, but I'll just have to talk about it, is the amount of money the amount of new property that was put on the rolls with the appraisal district is much lower than last year. Last year we raised $777,897 from new property alone. Okay, and then you add in what is the allowed 3.5% increase. We increased revenue last year over the prior year by $1,156,863. This year we did not have near as much new property, and with the 3.5% increase, the total is around $650,000. So that's nearly another $500,000 less that we're taking in this year in property taxes than we did last year. Now, this is it's not new. I was talking with the county judge over in Kaufman County, and their new property amount this year is much lower than it was the previous year. So when the mortgage rates took off, so did the builders. They quit building is what it amounts to. So there's not near as much new property in the pipeline for this year. So you're looking at $500,000 here for the reduced revenue, $500,000 in the roughly for the property tax increased and property revenue from the district. So that's kind of where we're at. That kind of shows you how we got to 3,560,000 546. The road and bridge were not really affected. They have actually done well. This is fiscal year 23. If you look up over here, okay, this shows this line right here is revenues right here. It was 10 million, and then expenses were 10 million in fiscal 23. If you look at fiscal 24, it is, you can't see it down there, but you got 11 million in revenues, which is $1 million more than the prior year in revenue, and 12 million in expenses, which is 2 million more than last year. So we took in 1 million more, and we spent 2 million more in fiscal 24. Okay. Now this is the same one up here, 24, so you can compare it. And then in 25, this is the budget for the road and bridge. In 25, you'll see that we're at we increased revenue yet again for the road and bridge by another $1 million, and the budgeted amount is increased roughly $400,000 for fiscal 25. So the cuts, the road and bridge is getting money to help do our roads in that regard. So that's where we're at. We got to figure out either A, how to raise more revenue, or B, how to cut where to cut expenses to get it in line with where it needs to be. Now, what has happened over the years, what I've observed, and I don't have numbers to show it, but I'm pretty sure it's accurate, is that we typically have budgeted in the past years a break-even budget. Revenues and expenses were even, and then at the end of the year we ended up adding $1.5 million to our fund balance because we didn't spend all that was in our budget. Last year we tried something different, and that is we budgeted actually $1.5 million into the fund balance because we wanted to get this. That was the year we made the major changes in all the salaries and the pay for everybody, and that came at a cost. And so that was the $1.5 million that we budgeted to go in the fund balance, and it looks like it will be we still won't go and use that much in that regard. So the question is, what do we want to do this year, fiscal 25? Do we want to do the budget to be break even, or do we want to go negative like we did last year? But the issue with the salary increases is all those increases that we did last year, we got to pay for again this year. And so that's part of what is in there. And then we're adding another 800,000 on top of that. So I will now open the floor to any suggestions or comments. We will have we have really till July 30th or July 31st, when we talked about earlier that will be our budget workshops to come up with the finalized budget on what we want to do. Come on. this budget, my understanding is this does include the proposal, the final proposal and agreement with the sheriff, correct, with the two new positions?
4 new and reducing to.
Right, okay, 4 new and reducing 2 and the maintenance director in the jail. So,
Remove 2 positions, so the 4 deputies in there.
Okay, well, it'll be four new patrol deputy positions. We're gonna account 2 of those through the animal patrol position.
right,
And staff deputy roll those over. Y'all gonna furnish us 2 new positions, deputy positions.
correct.
Also increase the pilot's wages, and we increase the transport wages.
The level it out, but deputy pay across the board. Good, thank you.
We have a maintenance position in jail. And we added $94.
Right. And we did not do the abatement officer, nuisance abatement officer, or what about the library, part-time library? Move part-time library. And you said the county court at law got the part-time administrator. Okay. So there was it's roughly on the sheriff and the jail from the report I got, it's in another room, but each is roughly increasing $500,000 from what I could tell. But that includes salaries and that.
I have to increase my software costs.
Do what?
I have to increase my software costs for new positions.
Right.
I think I did the hardware.
No, I haven't. But you had 2 of them. It'd be just 2 new positions, right? Because you had 2 of them that would have been accounted for. And then the one for the county court at law.
Cost for all positions.
300,000. Okay. That includes all the benefits too, right? Okay. So even if we did no salary increases and we did not provide the new positions for the sheriff, we still will be in the hole.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll give you just a personal deal. I say we take that million out on the courthouse and we, if we decide to do windows, let's just do a side at a time, which would be 250,000 a year. And if we do that, we could cover that out of a $400,000 contingency that we've got budgeted there. And so that gives you $1 million there. We'll take the 200,000 out that we've got for the jail. We can, not that something doesn't have to be done, but there's other areas out there that we can look at that we wouldn't have to spend that $200,000 on a new jail, totally new complex. There's your $1.2 million right there. I personally, it's absolutely nothing against the sheriff's office or Mr. Carter. I don't think we ought to add anything out there right now because we've got to prepare for next year. If the state of Texas doesn't give us that grant, I'm not going to have to. You guys are going to come up with $500,000 out of our tax revenues to be able to cover what we've been doing for 2 years out of the grant from the state of Texas.
Just 1 year.
No, we're doing it now. We're going to do it next year.
Right.
It's $500,000 per year.
Right.
So you're going to have to come up with $500,000 next year just to stay where you're at out of your tax revenue to keep your current pricing at the at the jail and sheriff's office. You're going to come up with $500,000 of revenue from somewhere
If the legislature
if they don't,
doesn't renew it,
if they don't renew it.
right?
And we need to take care of the people that we have now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We've got to take care of what we've got right now. And I want to give those positions out there, just can't figure out how we pay for it. I'd love to have another abatement officer to get some of the trash done, but we just ain't got the money. So, I don't know, there's nothing against you, Joe, I just don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it.
I did it.
But we gotta take care of what we got out there. I don't wanna cut this 5%.
No, sir.
We gotta take care of our staff.
But the first thing I want to do is make sure we retain the employees we've got.
Yes, sir.
There's good employees out there. We don't have enough.
Yes,
So I
sir.
will retain the ones we've got for sure.
Yes, sir. If this academy thing works, Joe, I think we need to come back some way and try to continue doing that. If you get these 2 new people and they go through this and they stay in Van Zandt County, that may be our key.
Oh, I think it will be, just what we have the, people there with seniority that can train them for the field training portion, the 16 we said, after they get commission from the academy, is make sure that people are trained, but I think that will be a game changer for the sheriff's office. We grow our own people through our own office.
Yes, sir, I agree.
It's the way, well, in the front door, right now, we have no applications
Mhm.
for different positions.
And you don't have a space budgeted for next year specifically for academies, or
No,
do
we
you?
had to use 2 different positions that we have open.
Mhm.
But now we have a patrol deputy position open and a patrol sergeant position open. We got like to, because as soon as they graduate, they're gonna fill those 2 spots, the 2
Mhm.
deputy spots. Because I'd like to put somebody else in the academy, I wanna get 1 more patrol position, I bet those 2 will be on FTO. I've got to make sure we have people to cover the street
Mhm.
that aren't in training. But I'd really like to get somebody else started into this debt program. Because we put them in now, it's gonna be in December, really probably turned out. I think another academy starts sometime in August.
Mhm.
I think that's
It may be January.
the suggestion that I had the other day. I still agree with it, but I don't think it's fair for the citizens to have that on a ballot without knowing what's going on. And I don't think we have enough time to get the word or information out of what is, like the judge presented, what is going on. Something we need to think about, but I don't think it'll be done this year. I think the people need to know what is going on and why we want to do it, not just, hey, go vote on this. So I think we need some time to educate them. Let them know that we're just not asking for more money, but this is what is going on. And I don't think it'd be fair to them without them knowing.
I agree 100%. Property here also, I got a house on property here. The tax is going pretty good on my properties. I've been here, for being on this side of the county for 7 years, and retired from the state. I'm just telling you, the sheriff's office side, we can't sustain this for hand to mouth, day to day, week to week, month year to year. With the growth that's coming and responsibilities we have, things are mandated, we have to get done. We can't stand ourselves and y'all don't get our backs trying to help us.
Yes,
At the rate we're at, we can't sustain our operation, the county can't sustain its operation. Where we're at, the numbers just aren't there, there's no pot of gold in the rainbow, there's no money. This is pretty much it. We have no control over y'all either. I'm gonna use again, a patrol car, a stripped down top. With no installation in it, plastic formats, a fast engine, tilt cruise, tilt wheel, and cruise control, and power windows, door locks. Because $17,000 from year to the next, we have no control over that. The income that's coming in doesn't match the cost of living of where we're at.
This, and we've all experienced it, the cost of tires, cost of fuel, cost of everything has gone up much more than the 3.5% that we're allowed
Yep.
to increase. I believe if I'm correct, Sandy, the overall increase in the budget from 24 is 9%. As presented right now is a 9% increase. That's across all of the general fund departments.
Matches inflation.
Yeah,
Well, of that, based on this tallying here in workshop, it shows percentage increase in the different departments. With the patrol officers added to the sheriff's department, he's showing an increase of minus 0.11%. He has cut his budget, as you had asked him to do before. He has cut his budget, his normal operation budget, low enough that even with these patrol positions added, his budget is 0.11% less than last year.
Mhm.
That's including the 5% pay rate for the people he's got and adding them deputy positions.
That's not right.
That's not what that is.
No, it's not right. You can't, with the payroll he's got, a 5% increase alone would take him over all the cuts that were made. I don't know what,
In 2024, his budget was 3.9 million. 2020 or 2025 proposed is 4.5.
More workshop schedule, it's showing 2024 was 3.937 and 2025 is 3.933.
It's on dispatch for together, so he's at 1.88 on dispatch. And on 11, he's staying right within his 5% range. Salary.
If you add both of them together,
Yeah.
if you look at just the SO operations with the positions added and the pay raise, he's less than he was last year. He has stripped and cut his budget as you asked him to do to get to where he could have a position.
But that's as far as we go.
Yeah, you had 3.9 last year. You requested 4.5. Then we came back. We got it down to 3.933.
And that 4.88 in dispatch, that just reflects the 5% pay raise. But that, everything else in there is staying the same. And really, the only thing that's got the gel up is mostly gonna be the maintenance person. There's a little bit in contract services, other than that, the rest of it would be pay rate. So the sheriff's done a very good job of streamlining his operation to the max of his ability in order to get those deputy positions. Which is what this court asked him to do in the beginning of the budget process.
But I think when Captain Williams first asked me, it was, she asked me for 5 bids, and she was expecting to get 5 positions. So I accounted for 5 on the laptops and the digital cameras.
mhm.
The body cameras, but if it's only 4, then that's gonna reduce that hardware cost.
No, it's only two.
Those two are already there.
Two are already there.
Well, but the 2 that were already there didn't have control units.
Oh.
Well, it's animal control. The
Yeah, so they gotta be outfitted with. Offsets the software cost, but. Still think they can be done, but.
Judge, what was your opinion about the windows that Keith had?
I'm fine, we'll punt it, kick the can down the road, And we still don't know, and we haven't discussed about if we are provided or offered a grant from the Texas Historical Commission. And I will be there next Thursday. And I don't know if we'll find out then or not, if there's gonna be any money offered. And that'll change some of the stuff too, so,
I think that we can get at least take baby steps with it. We can get one, pick a side, and we can get one side done this year. If we can get two, I mean, but this is going to try and get all four. This is,
Well, there's economies of scale doing it all at one time because you're gonna have to put scaffolding up around the courthouse and that's the main issue. And you know, if it's money's obviously not there, so I'm not gonna pursue it. And if, you know, we do get the courthouse renovation grant, then I'll pursue it,
Yeah.
but not on our own at this point in time. So that's out. So what are we as a commissioner's court comfortable with on the budget? Are we comfortable budgeting in the red, or do you want to balance it? You know, the issue is salaries increased from last year, and then adding the salary this year is going to make it even harder next year because those keep following us every year. But I think everyone here agrees we have seen an immense increase in efficiency, productivity because of the increase in the salary and retention of people. We have the employee retention has been much higher this year than it has been in the past.
I don't think we should go backwards. We got to keep what we got because what you said, we're keeping the people. And it's gonna have to come down to the rate, but you know, we got a year to educate the people. We don't have to do it this year. It's gonna come to a point where we got to do it.
Well, what you mean is about going above the voter approved tax rate to a higher rate to help bring in more revenue.
Yep.
But we, you know, until we do that, we can't provide 4 deputies or a deputy in every precinct to patrol. Till we do that, we can't, you know, we just have to keep cutting the levels of service until we have money to offer the service.
And to be able to do that, we need to go to the town halls, the city councils, wherever we can to educate the citizens of why we need to do it. And I think they would understand if they saw what we just saw.
Right.
And it's not the court that's gonna be voting on it. It's the people.
Mm-hmm. All right, any more questions?
Back to your,
Yes.
back to your question, as far as balanced or going into the fund balance. I personally don't mind going into the fund balance a little bit. I would prefer not to go into it 3.5 million
No.
myself. Last year, I was a little uncomfortable about going into it 1.5, but I believe we're gonna be okay, with our projected
Right.
under budget that we're gonna be.
We're probably going to be 750. It's probably what will end up being going into it.
Yes, sir. So I'm still good myself personally. I don't mind going into it. 1.5 million or 2 million, but I wouldn't want to do it any more than that. And you say you don't want to do that only on one-time expense. We've got tons of one-time expense all through that budget. I mean, you can just go in and pick it out anywhere. That next year, you guys may have to look at, well, hey, that was one-time expense. We won't be able to do that this year or whatever. That's gonna be.
You're talking about capital equipment purchases?
All kinds of.
There's always gonna be a one-time.
Yes, all kinds of things that you can cut the next year if you have to. So just to answer your question, I don't mind going into the fund balance.
Right.
So.
And I'm in agreement with that, up to 1.5 million, preferably 1 million, would no more than 1 million, but up to 1 million. 1.5 million with 500,000 of that being contingency.
Yes, sir.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Yes, sir. I'm,
Because the history has shown that we don't always spend everything that we budgeted
Yes, sir.
for.
I
And
agree.
so it wouldn't be that much that we'd actually go into the fund balance on. And our auditor has, graciously pointed out that we need to do something. Our fund balance is quite high. And we need to do it, but it's not salaries that we want to be spending the fund balance on, but maybe something to help the future of the county in that regard. So
and
one-time expense type thing.
And they stand at that, that's giving y'all a little bit, I'm talking about the future court, a little bit of preparation. If the state doesn't come back and fund us on the grant that they're doing for the sheriff and the jail administration. They may fund us, you keep your fingers crossed, but typically that doesn't happen with the state of Texas. They set you up for this to get you going, and then they cut you. And that's the way most grants work. That gives you, we're gonna fund this for 2 years, and that gives you time to figure out how you're gonna fund it after that.
And that's kind of like the mandate things like indigent defense, where we have to pay for the legal work for criminals that are indigent. And when it was first started, the state paid part of it. And now it's gotten lower and lower to where we get about $50,000 back for the 700,000 that we spend in indigent defense. And
that's correct. Usually when history will tell you that something that the state did previously, and they say, hey, we're gonna put this on the responsibility of the county, but we're gonna send you the money for it. So it's not gonna cost you anything, okay? Y'all are gonna pay this, but we're gonna reimburse you for it. And after a few years, that reimbursement was coming. I'm not talking bad about the state. I'm just going down history with you. I'm not by any means run down the great state of Texas. I'm just telling you, we're just going down memory lane.
When I leave here, I'm gonna be emailing our director of Sheriff Association of Texas. We meet about 10 days for our conference for our guarantee that's probably gonna be discuss what we're gonna be. Since I leave here.
Yes.
So make sure you're pushing that direction. I know they will be. A lot of things going on the state too. Issues. Let me ask one more question if I could. We were looking just before we had sergeant and patrol different positions. We get those total probably get positions, we may be able to work some of that now, get patrol deputies. I asked for a building maintenance person, which we need desperately. I had the C5 door, which I don't know what that is. That's the security door from Sally Port going into the jail. Malfunctioned yesterday. We cannot open the door manually with a key or electronically through our control. Got the company's going to come take a look at it. Right now, we're going to move business in and out of our front door to our lobby, get them out of our jail.
that was this week's.
On top of the air conditioner, the refrigerator press went out yesterday, and I think this was about $4,000 on it. And plumbing issues and one thing and another. When I came over there, we had a building maintenance person before. We didn't have one. I told them, well, I didn't want to put it on jail. Our jail administrator. I didn't want to put it on, I didn't have chief deputy, I didn't want to put it on our captain or local lieutenants. I took the responsibility over it, gave you number one, give me a pretty good idea where the building's at mechanically, what kind of shape it's in. It also had me, I was more involved in the budget, trying to figure out where we're going to pay for this. We continue on doing what we're doing. I spent a lot of my time as sheriff over there we're 3 days in this week. The first 3 days this week, I probably spent half of that on building maintenance issues. We've had several things come up, our control doors not operating properly. We're on it, we got people coming for it, but you understand it's a turnaround time on a lock to the jail. A steel door, security door for jail, $14,000, 20 weeks turnaround time. The locking mechanism, you can't go to the hardware store, this is a whole thing, not lock. 20 weeks turnaround time, replace lock. I've asked them to expedite it. And they said they would, we may be looking at 12 to 16 weeks, not sure. So. This building maintenance we asked for, I wasn't sure we were going to need additional patrol deputy positions. So we rolled 2 over from the staff, add 2 new positions, I'm gonna need an additional supervisor. We can continue on with the building maintenance part, we asked for a building maintenance person, and they were good patrol deputies. Would it be a possibility to convert the building maintenance person over to a patrol sergeant? Position we're asking for, is included here, is just a roll over patrol sergeant position. Right now, we have 2 patrol sergeants positions, okay, 1 patrol sergeant for all shifts. Okay, a patrol lieutenant, and our captain, all 3 of those people take phone calls around the clock, they work. They're doing a good job for us, it would certainly help us, we have 1 more person, 1 more position to add in.
Okay,
I'm not asking for another position, I'm just asking if the
to
building.
move on,
We'll just roll it over.
but it's a different level, it still would be an increase from what the building.
Yeah,
maintenance
it will, yeah, there will be an increase, but it's not a whole new full-time position.
Are y'all okay with that?
I'm with it.
I really like the idea of a maintenance guy though.
If I take an extra 15 people that are all needs.
I think you have a much better chance of hiring somebody for maintenance than your patrol sergeant and deputy at this
I
point.
want to take a load off those patrol deputies. Especially during this prime time, from noon to midnight. They cover a lot of ground and get a lot of calls.
That's one thing that's hurting us on retention. We got deputies going to work for less pay at a place where they can do less work. If we can get a few more people in position, we can help take that load off, but more importantly, one of the big problems we're having, week before last. We had a gentleman with mental health issue, drinking with a gun. One deputy checked in route, and this location was just off of Farmer Market Road, not very far, so not back roads. This is Farmer Market State Highways. One checked in route, lights and sirens as fast as they can safely drive, 22 minutes out. The other one was 26 minutes out. Because that's all we got is on the far end of the county. If we can get these positions in where we got officers located closer, we can cut our response time, we can cut our workload on our officers, and that makes it easier to attract and retain people. And it's safer for our people.
Why don't we,
And like I said, he's cut his budget to allow for the position.
this is my suggestion. Take it back. And hear me out before you go, oh my God, what's he talking about?
No,
Take away all, don't take away all the new positions for right now. Give everybody that we got 5%. Take away the $1 million courthouse deal, take away the $200,000.
Right.
Take all that away, what we just talked about. See where we're at.
well, there's other line, I plan to go by department and do some trimming.
And then when we see where we're at, then let's come back and say, all right, we're X amount under or X amount over. We got this much more we can go where we want to go with it. Because I'm just calling out Joe, he's the one talking. He's asking for this, are you okay with that? Well, we can say yes, but we don't know until
Final numbers.
the final numbers, so I think we should go back to scratch, do the 5% raises. With everything in there, take those 2 things out. This is where we're at and move from there. Before we
I agree.
Agree to anything.
I want to do some fine tuning of the whole budget and come back to you with my recommendations and go from there, because I'm still learning stuff. I'm finding stuff, trying to make sure everything is where it is.
on the boat, we need to take out all the new.
Well, we really need to find out one of the things that we have determined is we have a whole lot fewer court cases that are going through the court, and that's why our revenues from the different courts are so much lower. And we need to get with the judges and find out what the deal is and what we should you know, how we can do that and get the JPs on the tickets and. You know, if we get the ticket printers in their vehicles, will that help? Get more revenue in, but it's just, there's so much involved, but we're working on it. We're figuring out how to be more efficient.
And Brian, if you will look in your proposed budget, there is a general fund budget in Excel format that has every line in the
Yeah.
in the budget. Has what's for 25 and what's for 24, and you can see line by line.
Every department.
Where is it at?
The number your FY 2025 proposed budget.
Hold on, let's see if I can find it here. What's the file name? Oh, it's in Excel format, right? Yes, all right, here.
Yeah, budget request. He sent it to us.
I'm trying to open it. There it is. I mean, you can access it because of the shared file. Go back and share my screen. So starts out with my budget right there. No, human resources. Jessica's, or no, there's mine right there, county judge. This is the same thing as the sheets that we normally have, but this is in Excel now. And it has more details involved, what each department.
And if you want to make changes to it, please copy that file
Yeah, don't.
and make changes because the original file is exactly.
Does the 2025 budget, is that including all the
5%,
new positions?
just the sheriffs and the county court at law, those are the only two.
We got new positions. And it includes the 5%.
If you go all the way to the bottom, then you can see how much personnel costs is, how much other costs, capital.
Okay.
I'm not sharing this screen to our viewers at home. Let me get to the bottom.
Possibility of like raising up costs. If that's the only thing about that, you know, just things I've said and looked at, which some of it's gonna have to be embraced like stocks that you can't raise.
Right, that's what I was,
But if you spread the capital out, so we're but because most of the capital was in the sheriff's departments.
Spread that out, Judge.
Because we brought 2023
what,
cars over to 2025, 2024, because you didn't get. So there was a big reduction there. But we actually have 2 years of cars.
You gotta spread the capital water. The bottom increases.
Either at or below the 3%, I thought.
Now go to the bottom.
It wasn't 1 point.
It was at one point.
But you can see that, which I do still have an Excel error I'm searching for, because you can see the difference. That's where we got the 9%. Got
Okay.
$15,000 Excel error for someone, I'm still searching for it, I have to have it. You know, Excel great, what you have there. Huh?
It's a big sheet.
Yeah.
so that's out there if you wanna go,
But that's $3.
right, that's what I will work on when I start, and when I go through it, then I'm going to send y'all what my proposal is on everybody's changes.
But please, if you're gonna work, say you file, Brandon, you say one for precinct 4, or Brandon, Keith, you say Keith,
Can you not lock it?
I can.
Why don't you lock
Yeah,
it?
I'd lock it. You lock it.
It's like, well, if you're gonna work in it, I can go in and make all of you a copy. And then lock it, like,
I'll just make a copy and do it by the old fashioned
If
way.
you lock the manual, I believe they could do a save as.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I just can't forget my password if I lock it.
Right, okay. Well, if you password protect it, then when you save, do a save as, it keeps the password.
You, yeah, you have to have a password to unlock it for, it's.
But
I just wanna
we'll get back with you on the best way to do that.
So we all agree that we want to keep our employees at 5% to retain what we got.
If at all possible,
If at
yes,
all
that is the
possible.
number one priority.
And then
To
we'll
take care of the employees. Now we just need to go and look and
tweak everywhere else.
tweak everywhere else.
Can you please repeat to me, Judge, what you said about the fund balance? I got a year and a half. You said something.
Oh, that $500,000 of that would be in contingency.
Right at.
If we
400,000.
budgeted going $1.5 million in the hole, that half of that million would be contingency. That was my statement. Okay. All right, anything else? All right, then that should wrap us up for today. When July the 30th, but you will be getting stuff next week. Or maybe the week after next, not next week. I'll be out. And I thank you for your time. All right, I'm going to close.
You have to ask them without any putting money in the reserve.
Oh, yeah. What, we stopped recording?
That's.
Okay, one of the things is, you know, we agreed to put $6 million of the fund balance into a separate account that is for emergency use only. Well, that money's earning interest. And Sandy's been putting that money back into that account, and my suggestion is that the interest go back into the general fund for us to spend. Rather than, and just keep that account at 6 million. Does anybody have an objection with that?
I don't.
Okay. So
How much is that draw?
I got 250,
About 250.
250,000 for this year. So, okay. Just wanted to make sure it was okay with you guys that we did that.
I just saved 250 off of
Okay. All right, you can shut.
Can I get one thing? But
Okay, we just closed the meeting. I would prefer not to discuss, but you come talk to me afterward.
Okay.